Right, picture this. It's a cold, gray morning. The sort of day where you just want to stay inside with a cup of tea. But out on an airfield, something big is about to happen. There's a jet, a small, sharp, angry-looking thing, sitting on the tarmac. It's a Saab Gripen. The people who built it are about to ask it to do something everyone said was impossible. They were told it couldn't be done. The maths didn't add up, the physics were all wrong. It was like trying to teach a badger to play the bagpipes. The challenge was simple to say, but fiendishly difficult to do. Land on a tiny strip of road, refuel, rearm with missiles, take off again. All in the time it takes to make a decent sandwich. The big heavy jets from America and Russia, they need miles of perfect concrete. Doing this was considered a fantasy. A fighter jet travels at hundreds of miles per hour. Hitting a narrow strip of asphalt with trees on either side is like threading a needle while on a roller coaster. One tiny mistake, one gust of wind, and you're a very expensive, very fiery explosion in a forest. So, what is this Saab Gripen? Well, it's not like the other kids in the playground. If American jets like the F-22 Raptor are the big, brawny rugby players of the sky, all muscle and power, the Gripen is the nimble, wiry martial artist. It's smaller. It's lighter. It was born in Sweden, a country that knows a thing or two about being clever when you're surrounded by bigger neighbors. They couldn't afford to build 1,000 massive gas-guzzling jets. They had to be smarter, so they designed a plane that could do more with less. It's a brilliant piece of thinking, really. The whole philosophy behind the Gripen is different. It's designed to be easy to fly and, crucially, easy to maintain. You don't need a team of 20 highly trained specialists with laptops and a lorry full of equipment to get it ready. A handful of conscripts, young lads and lasses doing their national service, can get it refueled, rearmed, and back in the air in minutes. They even designed the tools so you couldn't put the wrong part in the wrong place. It's genius. It's like they designed a Formula One car that could be serviced by a regular mechanic at a roadside garage. It's practical, which is a word you don't often hear with supersonic fighter jets. And then there's the way it looks. It has these little wings at the front, called canards, marketing close-up. They make it incredibly agile, able to turn on a sixpence. It gives the jet an almost bird-like quality in the air, allowing it to point its nose in one direction while flying in another. This is hugely important in a dogfight, but these canards also help it to land and take off in very short distances. They act like air brakes and generate extra lift at slow speeds. It's a clever bit of aerodynamic trickery that makes the whole road base idea even plausible. It's a multi-role fighter, meaning it can do everything. Fight other planes, attack targets on the ground, do reconnaissance. It's the Swiss Army knife of the skies. But the most important thing to understand about the Gripen is its brain. It's packed with some of the most advanced electronics in the world. Its computer systems and data links are top-notch. This means the pilot has a crystal-clear picture of everything that's happening around them for miles. The jet can talk to other Gripens, to ground stations, even to ships, sharing information instantly. It's less about being the fastest or the strongest plane, and more about being the smartest. To really get why the Gripen is so special, you have to look at what everyone else was doing. The big players, America and Russia, were locked in a battle of minds bigger than yours. America, Russia. Their jets were getting heavier, more powerful, and eye-wateringly expensive. Think of the American F-15 Eagle. Think of the Russian Su-27 Flanker. These are magnificent machines, no doubt about it. They are huge. They are twin-engine behemoths designed to rule the skies through sheer brute force. They can carry a massive payload of weapons. They can fly at incredible speeds. They are the heavyweight boxing champions of the aviation world. When Saab first started talking seriously about their road-basing concept for the Gripen, the international aviation community basically laughed. The experts, the analysts in their comfortable offices in Washington, London, were deeply skeptical. They looked at the specifications of a modern fighter and the reality of a public road. Their arguments were logical, well-reasoned, and all pointed to one conclusion. It was a terrible idea. It was a stunt, a marketing gimmick, not a viable military strategy. The risks were just too high. First, there was the problem of landing speed and runway length. A fighter jet, even a light one like the Gripen, still comes in to land at over 150 miles per hour. You need a lot of space to slow down safely. A typical motorway off-ramp is what? A few hundred meters long? A standard runway is a couple of miles. The experts pointed out that even with powerful brakes, a parachute, the margin for error was virtually zero. The pilot would have to fly a perfect approach every single time, in any weather day or night. One slight miscalculation and the jet ends up as a wreck in the trees. And then came the day. The day Saab and the Swedish Air Force decided to stop talking and, well, start doing. They didn't pick a specially prepared secret test track. Instead, they chose a public road, part of the national highway system in a forest in Finland. The road was closed off, of course, but it was a normal road, with trees and ditches, and all the imperfections you'd expect. The world's aviation press and military attachés were invited to watch. The skepticism was thick in the air. Most were there expecting, maybe even hoping for a failure. The first Gripen appeared as a small dot in the overcast sky. It grew larger, its delta wing and canard shape becoming clear. It wasn't screaming in at a terrifying speed. It seemed to be floating, almost hovering. The pilot used aerodynamic tricks, canards, wing flaps. He lined the jet up with the narrow ribbon of asphalt cutting through the forest. It looked like landing a spaceship on a bicycle path. The tension was immense. Everyone held their breath. With a gentle puff of smoke from the tires, it touched down. Perfectly. The pilot hit the brakes and deployed the canards as massive air brakes. The jet slowed with shocking speed. It stopped in a distance shorter than a couple of football pitches. It didn't swerve, it didn't skid. It just sat there on a public road. A ripple of applause became astonished chatter. They had actually done it. But it wasn't over. A small team of ground crew emerged from the trees. No fancy equipment, just a small truck and their training. Within minutes they connected a fuel hose. Another team loaded new missiles onto the wings. The pilot stayed in the cockpit. The engine kept running. Calm, efficient activity, a blur. In less than 10 minutes, it was done. Refueled, rearmed, ready to go. The ground crew vanished into the woods. The pilot gave a thumbs up. With a thunderous roar, the Gripen blasted back into the sky, taking off from the same short road. The world was stunned into silence. So, how did they pull it off? It wasn't magic, though it certainly looked like it. It was the result of decades of careful, deliberate, and incredibly clever design. The Swedes knew from the start that they needed a jet that could survive in a tough neighborhood. Their entire defense strategy has been based on the idea of a total defense system using the whole country as a fortress. The Gripen was designed from the ground up to be the sharpest sword in that fortress. The road-basing capability wasn't an afterthought, it was baked into its very DNA from the first design sketch. The first piece of the puzzle is the landing gear. Look at the undercarriage on a big American jet. Complicated, delicate. The Gripen's is different. It's beefy, it's rugged, it's designed to take a beating. Engineers knew it would land on imperfect surfaces, so they gave it a wide-track, single-wheel main landing gear surprisingly robust, able to absorb rough landings. More like a rally car suspension than a typical fighter. Built for the real world, not a pristine lab. Then there's the clever aerodynamics. Those canards at the front are the key. Coming into land, the pilot can use them to generate enormous drag and extra lift. That lets the Gripen approach at a very high angle of attack, nose up high, but at a very low speed, incredibly stable. Fantastic pilot view of the landing spot. Low speed handling most pointy-nosed jets lack. Gives the pilot time to think and make tiny adjustments. And taking off in a short space, the canards and the powerful engine work together. On the takeoff roll, the canards lift the nose wheel off very early. This reduces drag and gets the main wings generating lift fast. The Gripen practically leaps into the air. No long run-up, it just goes. All of this, the tough landing gear, the brilliant low-speed handling and the short takeoff performance, were not separate features. They were parts of a single, unified design concept. A fighter that didn't need an airbase. The real secret to the Gripen's success, the thing that truly sets it apart, isn't just its physical design, it's the philosophy behind it. The Swedes realized they couldn't win a game of brute force. They couldn't build a jet with bigger engines, or more missiles, than the superpowers. So they decided to change the rules of the game. They focused on making their jets smarter, more efficient, and more adaptable. The secret sauce is a blend of high-tech thinking and extreme practicality. It's about having the sharpest mind on the battlefield, not just the biggest muscles. A huge part of this is the Gripen's advanced avionics and data linking. A Gripen pilot doesn't just see what their own radar sees. Other Gripen's sensor data, ground-based radars, friendly ships. All this information is fused together by the jet's powerful onboard computer, presented to the pilot in a simple, easy-to-understand way. This gives them a godlike view of the entire battle space. They can see threats long before those threats can see them, and they can coordinate with their wingmen without saying a single word. This smart approach extends to its maintenance. The Gripen was designed to be easy and cheap to run. A Gripen's cost per flying hour is a fraction of that of its bigger rivals. This means you can afford to fly them more often, keeping your pilots sharp and well-trained. The ground crew can perform a full engine change in the field in under an hour. Think about that. An engine swap on a supersonic jet by the side of a road. It's mind-bogglingly practical. It's easy to look at the Gripen and give all the credit to the machine, to marvel at its canards, its powerful engine, and its clever computers. But that's only half the story. The impossible feat of landing on a road and taking off again wasn't just the achievement of a jet. It was the achievement of a team. It was the culmination of a unique relationship between designers, pilots, ground crew. This human element, perfectly synchronized teamwork, is as important as any hardware. The ground crew are the unsung heroes. You can't have a massive team of specialists for road basing. You need a small, highly trained, multi-skilled group who can do everything. Swedes train technicians to be jacks of all trades. One person refuels the jet, the same person helps load missiles. This flexibility is key. They work quickly, quietly, efficiently in difficult conditions with minimal equipment. Landing on a narrow strip with trees flashing past requires another level of skill, trust, and courage. Pilots work hand in glove with engineers. They provide constant feedback to refine controls and systems. They train relentlessly in simulators and in the air, practicing landings until second nature. This culture of collaboration is what makes Saab and the Swedish Air Force different. They see themselves as one team with one goal: to make the system work. So, the Gripen did it. It landed on a road, got ready for another fight, and took off again. Big deal, you might say. What does it actually mean? Well, it means everything. That single demonstration on that gray day sent a massive shockwave through the world of military aviation. It challenged the decades-old assumption that air power had to be chained to massive, vulnerable air bases. It showed that there was another way. Smarter, more flexible, more resilient. It was a glimpse into the future of air warfare. The Gripen's achievement highlights a massive shift in military thinking. In the future, conflicts are unlikely to be long, drawn-out slugging matches between giant armies. They are more likely to be fast, unpredictable, asymmetric. The ability to disperse your forces be unpredictable, operate from anywhere will be a huge advantage. A country with Gripens doesn't have just a handful of big targets for an enemy to hit. It has potentially hundreds of small operating strips. Hidden operating strips, constantly moving operating strips. It makes the entire country a potential airbase, a nightmare for any aggressor to deal with. This philosophy is now influencing the design of the next generation of fighter jets. Air forces around the world are looking at the Gripen and thinking, we need some of that. They are starting to demand aircraft that are powerful, stealthy, affordable to run, easy to maintain, adaptable to a wide range of conditions. The era of the exquisite jet, the incredibly expensive high-maintenance hangar queen, may be coming to an end. The future belongs to aircraft that are smart, efficient, resilient, just like the Gripen. Ultimately, the story of the Gripen on that road is a brilliant lesson in innovation. It shows that you don't have to be the biggest or the richest to be the best. Sometimes, by thinking differently, challenging the accepted wisdom, focusing on being clever instead of just being strong, you can achieve what everyone else says is impossible. The Gripen proved that a small, nimble fighter with a big brain and a brilliant team behind it can change the world. And that's why, for a small jet from Sweden, it's one of the most important and impressive machines in the sky today. Absolutely brilliant.